The favorite casters of TI8 have now left the room, and Sind and I have now come to replace them.
Yep.
Team Liquid versus Winstrike. We're back. Yes, Toby and Sind.
So, yep, Liquid versus Winstrike indeed. And let me actually just quickly bring this up because I want to have a look at the scores. Here we go. So Winstrike is currently 2-8. They are looking very grim in Group A, whereas Team Liquid are currently in second place with 7-3.
It's kind of a rough run for Winstrike as well. Like the 2-8 Winstrike played up against the #1 team and actually secured EG that top 4 position, and now they got to go up against Liquid, who are in the second position at 7-3. And
They're having a hard day today.
yeah, with this, like if Liquid can 2-0 this, I believe they need to win one more game, and they've secured themselves top 4.
Sounds about right. There would be 9-3 in that case. And then their worst possible score would be 9-7, which is more than likely going to be top 4 anyway, but they might need another 1 or 2 games.
It's all about securing it nice and early. And, well, an Immortal Man is one way to do it. I'm going to pick up the Wraith King and then combine it with the second most annoying voice in the game. Luna takes 1.
I'm interested. This is a bit curious because most teams haven't first phase Wraith King, and Liquid just won to this. It looks like they like this pairing a lot, and I was just thinking, what's the natural synergy? Well, the Wraith King stun is 2 seconds, and it's a guaranteed setup for Brambles.
5 seconds
And what you can also take advantage of is, well, since you set up into the root, the skeletons will get extra time to hit because you're chaining a stun into a root and a secondary stun.
Yeah.
There is so much lockdown in this lane if they lane them together that you could easily see this being a powerful kill lane. So very interesting. Winstrike is going to pull something new out of the bag.
They're going to change the pace up. Like they didn't do Prophet in their first 2 games earlier today. I was actually wondering like how they would actually battle the Wraith King. We've seen a lot of mana burn, Invoker pickup, something which Iceberg has played and won with. I think it was actually one of the few games that Winstrike actually won. They had Iceberg on Invoker. Where they 5th picked it, but like why do teams not first phase the Wraith King? Is it because of these counter picks that can come that can just wreck him?
It might just be because it's not that they don't think Wraith King is good enough, it's that they think the other heroes are a little bit more valuable and are more likely to get banned, perhaps. That you prioritize heroes that you think are a little more flexible or a little more integral to the lineup you're running, and then you want to second phase the Wraith King, and you're like, if it gets banned, so be it. I think in most strategies, like Wraith King is not the centerpiece, you know? He's kind of an afterthought or a secondary, just a good secondary. And maybe that's exactly Liquid's thought here is, well, there's other good heroes, but we don't want to reveal too much yet, and we want to play this duo that we've practiced. And, well, see how it goes.
And a lot of the other early pieces, like, at least for Winstrike, too, like, they went for the VS. At least they have aggressive tempo through the VS and not what we had last time. But, like, Io, Necro, Undying all found themselves in the ban pool. So a lot of these first pick heroes that, at least we see in the Winstrike games, that people go after.
Yeah.
No Phoenix, no Wyvern, so removing Fire and Ice. And no Dro Ranger. Haha.
That's a good ban here. When you have Nature's Prophet advantage for sure.
Yeah.
So I think looking at Winstrike's heroes, first of all, I'm a big fan of Nature's Prophet. I think it's underpicked in this tournament so far. It's a strong laner. It can itemize the way you want. It pushes lanes. It puts pressure. It's like the only real weakness of the hero, in my opinion, is it has pretty lackluster team fight. But if you... And in a secondary sense, he might take too much space. You want to make sure that Furion doesn't get all your gold and your carries don't have space to farm. But if you practice and distribute your resources correctly, I think the hero is really, really useful this patch. It's a hero I think we'll see more at the main event, especially from a team like Liquid.
Because he's the one that changes the balance of the lanes around, right? Like these 2/2s, like how quickly can I come in for the rotation? Instantly.
Yeah.
And Liquid.
Yeah, we've seen Liquid third pick this hero a couple of times, I think.
Yeah, Matumberman played it. I remember we were actually watching one of those games. It was like, oh god, Liquid have just lost 3 heroes that don't have buyback. I think Liquid have lost a game on day 1, and then Matumberman went 1v3 and killed 2 heroes and forced the third one to retreat.
Yep.
It's one hell of a combat hero in the late game now.
There's no joke if you get the right items and the right talents. For sure. And I would say there's 2 true ways of playing the hero, and obviously along those lines or in those two categories, you can switch up some itemization. But there's the spider build, which I think we haven't seen yet. And there's the combat build, which is generally the one where you focus on Broodmother itself as the damage dealer. But there is actually a build that we might end up seeing once or twice this tournament, which will not happen when you third pick Brood. It's not that kind of game, probably. But you can get the talents for Brood where you focus on the spiderlings. If the enemy team has such a bad lineup at killing spiders, you can actually go pipe and the spider damage talent, and Broodmother can siege towers really fast. It's like actually ridiculous how much damage it does. You can go with some sort of aura build. It's a bit cheesy and a bit different, but it works pretty well if the enemy doesn't have counters. However, in this case, Winstrike already secured themselves a way of killing spiders. They have the Cleave of Tiny, one of the better heroes against Broodmother, and one of the heroes that in general we've seen be pretty powerful in lane this tournament. Sumail has played it. Iceberg did well against Sumail, actually. So, yeah, I think it's a good choice overall here. Yeah. And great synergy with Venge. I love that pairing.
Do you actually, just as we look at Broodmother for future games, obviously he won't fit into the draft this time around, but is this when Alchemist can actually work as well? Like, can Alch play up against the Broodmother? Because it used to be one of those old things, like, oh, I'm going to get so much, like, bounty gold.
Yeah, Alch can definitely play against Brood. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to. Acid Spray, now that Broodlings don't even have armor anymore, Acid Spray should kill them very quickly, and Brood can't really prevent Alchemist from getting CS in lane, so I could definitely see that being a possible pick. The only thing you need to be wary of as Alch is if the army gets too big and you get surrounded, you might get killed off. But when you're level 6, I think you actually can't die.
That's when Alchemist is like, "Oh, I'll buy Battle Fury, like or Maelstrom. I'll find other ways to rip through this."
I think a stout armlet, the classic stout armlet into Radiance would be totally fine against Brood on that hero. Actually, it's an interesting idea that we might see later on. So to
wrap up,
to
support.
Stop interrupting me. To elaborate on the Venge Tiny synergy, the logic is that the Tiny, when his skills grow on higher levels, he gets more base damage, not plus damage, base damage. And that means that the Vengeance Aura benefits him a lot. I was actually thinking if we were going to see a strategy with Tiny and Terrorblade together with Venge, where you have this Metamorphosis guy and this Tiny guy both have an amazing Venge Aura and the minus armor from Wave of Terror. I think, in theory, the way the game is played right now and how strong Tiny is in mid, I think it's a laning you could totally pull off if you put the Venge on position 4 and get a really strong laner for the Terrorblade, for example, like Bane or whatever you feel like. And I was thinking about it too because I think Terrorblade's one of Silent's best heroes, and we just haven't seen it this tournament from him. There's been other teams that have done great with Terrorblade, so you're Winstrike right now. You're 2-8. Things are not looking too hot. Like, why not? Why not give it a go? I think this is a great Terrorblade game. There's nothing against him. No AoE damage at all on Liquid's side. I would love it if they picked it here. I think it's good enough.
Well, they have the opportunity. They may want to pick it in their 5th slot, however.
I have 2 picks in a row, so it doesn't really matter that much. It matters a bit because they can influence exactly. The upside to picking it now is they pick into ban, but at the same time, if the hero they don't want to face, like the situation doesn't really, it won't change very likely. The risk here is if they don't pick it and want to save it for last, and Liquid actually see the opening and ban Terrorblade, then you regret it because you're like, we could have also just picked it, banned out something else. Grabbed our last pick.
They have to choose soon.
Yeah.
They're actually burning their reserve time. Maybe this wanted to match up with Team Liquid, and we're slowing up the pace.
That's an alternative choice that kind of... I wouldn't say it fits the same bill because the two heroes work fundamentally very differently, but it is a hard carry that scales very well into the late game.
Should be able to create enough space for the Nature's Prophet, right? Like, as long as Tiny doesn't get dumpstered in lane, the Spectre can then build up strong enough that you won't care so much about the Broodlings. You can fight the Wraith King directly. Maybe also one of those... Is Diffusal build?
On Spectre?
Yeah, I'm thinking up against... Like,
you could definitely go Manta Diffusal this game.
Yeah.
I think that's actually what most players do now instead of the Radiance, but... So the obvious synergy with Furion and Spectre together is the ridiculous global presence. If Tiny finds an opening, you can teleport Wrath of Nature, and you can haunt. So that's very nice. The downside for this is, I'm afraid, just from Winstrike's like team profile, if you will, the way they work, is I think this is too slow in a way. Like, I really like this team when they play super high tempo and play very aggressively. And it's not that their lineup can't do it. They have Nature's Prophet, they have Tiny, they can make moves for sure.
Yeah.
But they need these moves to be very successful in order to take objectives, whereas if they have the Terror Blade and they get just an inch in the fight, they take a full tower.
Yeah.
And I would love to see this team just be like, okay, we're backs against the wall, it's not looking too hot, let's just play the style that we qualified with, which, yeah, obviously you do it with different heroes, right? But Winstrike were playing super aggressive in the CIS qualifier. And now...
Like right now to make this lineup aggressive, need something like a Spirit Breaker or something that just continuously charges and moves at the enemy. But
that wouldn't necessarily be that bad of an idea. It was one of the heroes that Winstrike actually did play in the qualifiers as well. On both, I believe, No Fear and Always Wanna Fly. But they might
good way to keep track of the Broodmother too. Like,
yeah.
Make sure she can't get away. But either way, like all I'm looking for is like something from Winstrike that can jump without having to wait for Tiny, or if Tiny tosses that hero in, another way to run it. But Winstrike makes the choice, and it's a Mirana.
That's fine.
That's
probably.
Offlane?
Yeah, I think it's a support Fury.
Okay. So a four prophet.
Yeah, or a 5, depending on what they like more. I think they generally play it as a 5 when they've picked it as a support Winstrike. I'm okay with this. I think it's it should in theory be a really strong support against this Wraith King Dark Willow lane, because they have no way of really dealing with the treants very well. They can't force the skeletons to start hitting treants, so have like the control advantage, if you will.
And you got good clearance out from Winstrike, both with magical as well as physical.
Yeah, and it's a good iceberg hero. I like this. Or sorry, he's probably playing the Tiny. It's also a good non-grata hero though. I want these two players to. We had the game earlier today where they played Tiny Weaver, and I really liked that. But then they ended their draft with a Drow, and it slowed them down so much. This is still some very nice tempo here with the Mirana. They can play very quick and aggressive.
Team Liquid ticked their last box, which is some level of insane teamfight control.
It's a position 1 Wraith King.
And mind control will do it, and yeah, it actually is. It's Miracle on Wraith King.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This Broodmother is going to have a lot of lifesteal. It's going to have a 30% from the aura. It's going to have 250 million% from its ulti. So it's going to be a lot of lifesteal. Maybe GH...
That sounds like a made-up number.
Maybe mind control buys of Vlads too. Honestly, in some fights, it feels like it's 1,000%. Like, no joke. Just look at it. You're like, okay, he hit one time and he's full health. What just happened?
Yeah, that's a 4,000 HP hero. Oh, hang on.
That's...
But
quite something.
like laning wise though, how do you like Team Liquid there? They're running a 4 melee lineup with 1 range support. And they're gonna do this against a Spectre who can close the distance, obviously, with Haunt real quick.
Yeah.
Like potential kiting through Tiny. They are pretty tanky though, so I don't think there's great opportunities for Iceberg just to jump in and get that instant pop. Like GH is the only one, and if you get Shadow Realm off, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I look at this Liquid lineup and it looks a bit weird to me, but the one thing they have got going for them is they have great targets for Bloodlust, which I think is very important when you pick Ogre. Both Broodmother and Wraith King use this spell very, very well. Obviously, the passive crit from Wraith King and the really high lifesteal from Broodmother's ultimate benefits a lot from attack speed. So that's nice, but it's just I'm ready to be surprised here, not because I think their lineup is bad, but because I don't completely see the logic yet. I know what the Broodmother is supposed to do. I had the idea with the Wraith King Willow lane, which we'll see if is it even going to happen or not. They might lane it differently. But rounding this out with the Brewmaster is a little bit odd to me. It might feel like they can just go in. You know, maybe the idea is we go in with Brood, we go in with Spiders, we go in with Skeletons, and then we use Split on Brew.
Yeah.
And we just create chaos and just buy time, and the summons are going to do stuff, like take towers or kill heroes. We'll see how it goes. But like just when I look at these two lineups, the Dire lineup looks way more intuitive to me. It has more heroes that we've seen more in this tournament.
For battle.
But as long as their laning phase goes right too, this does feel a lot better.
But Liquid are good, so there is definitely some plan behind this. Kuro has had some pretty creative drafts in this tournament. This isn't the first time they've had some off-meta picks, if you will. And they've been solid. They have a 7-3 score for a reason. So
yeah, it could also just be because they're massively talented players.
Their drafts are garbage. Kuro, what are you doing? All right, man, we'll win anyway.
All right, get it out of your system, boys. Okay, is it done?
Okay.
Thanks, Kuro.
Damn, Kuro got tipped so much. Everybody loves Kuro. Oh, Nangrata loves mind control. I think that's cool. All right, one from Matumba.
Yeah, that's an insurance. Just paying it right now. So Matumba doesn't go for mass spiders against him. So at least he can deal with just the hero direct. All right. So rolling out. Oh, I think they know a spider's in mid lane. Matumba even. Everything's A-okay in the mid lane.
You put the push. Oh, that's great.
Did it right underneath the Dire Observer, but he walked up to the tower just to ensure. But they're not actually doing that. Looks like Mind Control's prepared to go mid lane. They're going to send Matumba to the off, and then Wraith King in the safe. So they're changing up the lanes in Iceberg. Well, he's tagging back. Winstrike now own the Radiant side.
Are they done yet?
No, they're not done. They're not fully done yet. Miracle starting a dance club.
Time for a rune fight. Looks like Winstrike are trying to maybe snipe this bottom rune. No, they're not going to get it. It's a 2 for 2.
In fact, yeah, they're gonna lose it out. Winstrike can take the top rune. But this is kind of happening because Matumbaman's keeping his presence secret up on top lane.
This is very interesting, though. I think this is the first offlane brood we've seen all tournament so far. And
is it because the matchup is just so much better for a Brewmaster in mid against the Tiny?
That's what I was thinking, but I don't even know if Brew wins this lane. I think he does fine, but perhaps the logic is from Liquid. You know what? Overall, if we do it like this, we'll have a slightly worse game for Brood, but a much better game for Brew. That might be what they're thinking. That they want to give Mind Control a better game, and then Matumba can come back. Because he will definitely be getting less in this top lane than he would
lanes. Silence coming towards the mid lane. Tiny's going top.
Wait, they're actually switching now?
Yeah, they're switching. They're switching real early, and I get to miss first blood.
Yeah, they're tri-laning bottom right now.
So I always want to fly false. And Matumbaman starting his TP. He's heading towards the mid.
So this is the other piece. The other way of looking at this is if you put Brood in the offlane, Brood, when you have to solo offlane, Brood will generally get more than Brewmaster. So that way they can enable themselves to put this tri-lane bottom in the start to get a huge advantage from Miracle and just let the Broodmother leech that little bit top. And now disrupt them in toward mid. And yes, Iceberg will follow, but now Matumbaman actually has an experience advantage. Yeah. So that worked out pretty well.
2.5. Lanes are equal. So this defensive tri-lane to ensure that Miracle gets a good start. Nongrada's not going to get as much space as he would probably like here with Always Want to Fly. Does Iceberg really do that well against the Brood? Seems like a lane where he's going to cop a lot of harassment until he gets his levels up to kill off these spiderlings.
If this was a flat one-on-one from the beginning, Tiny is just free farming. There's nothing Brood can do. But
because it's not.
There's a slight experience advantage from Matumba. I don't know if that's going to swing it enough. You'll see he runs it toward him with the tree, and Matumba just has to yield. Let him farm.
Is it actually worth getting early points up in Bite? Just to try and mess with the Tiny?
I don't think so. I think it slows down your farming.
Alright.
Yeah, just passing by.
Just a club buy. There's a haste rune as well, but Nature's Prophet's going to TP in. He'll grab that, and he can play around with Kuro, but he's going to do nothing against him. And just make sure the Kuro doesn't have the haste rune to harass down Silent.
I wonder how long it would take No Fear to kill Kuro if he was just hitting him. And Ogre's just standing there with 2 mangoes.
8 armor, 700 HP, regen at 6.7. He actually goes to 6 with the -2 from Blight. It would take a very long time.
I mean, this is... Oh, I love Ogre. What a dumb hero.
Literally.
Yeah. But so great at the same time.
Starts with 17 intelligence. That seems a little too high. He should be a lot dumber than that.
Well, if Tiny has 0 agility and can still walk.
Claps up. That's level 2 on him, combining with the Fire Blaster and the Ignite. No fear. Well, he thought he had it, but damn, Mind Control. Just starts letting go on bottom lane. Perfect Bramble. GH able to connect onto Always Want to Fly. And in the Cursed Crowns, they're using both of the stuns already. Vengeful Spirit. Nongrata cannot help him. Threw the arrow out, and after then, there was really no intimidation factor for the Mirana.
This early laning stage for Liquid is looking great right now. All 3 of their cores have got a successful start. You see, Matumbaman knows this mid lane isn't that great for him, but since he already got his level 4 and a decent spider army, he could just retreat into this jungle and just keep building his army. They got a lot out of this overall Liquid on the Brewmaster especially. I think he's the biggest winner in all of this. having 20 CS in that offlane minute 4. And this is against support Nature's Prophet. They just haven't been able to really put on much pressure.
Yeah.
The downside of having Spectre in this lane doesn't really threaten that much.
But there should be the threat coming up, right? Like when Silent hits 6, when you actually have Haunt available, as if Silent can actually stay alive. He's trying to Spectral Dagger through the trees, but they just cut through him. Kuro's got his extra stun available, and Silent has an extra hit from the Drunken Brawler, but no fears available. He didn't actually hold the 3rd point, so he can't even sprout to create space. Arrow, GH sees it coming from a mile away. He's pinging saying there's an observer ward here, but there's not. GH just sensed it.
The taunt.
Yeah,
This taunt is so silly.
It's like that sound, like what is that song? It sounds like almost like a Breakfast Club kind of like track.
Maybe we should just stop casting. Just let the music.
Yeah.
Just let the music play.
Music makes the Dota run away from you.
Bounty runes. That's 2 per, I think. Yep.
Yeah. Unless GH is going to go for more, and yeah, he is. The Bramble's right in, like, oh, he's going to fly. He's going to clip it. Oh, and Courier. Yeah. Courier doesn't want to be there. And GH could actually win this. He'll take the hit, but he's got Fairy Fire, and he's still got the Shadow Realm available. So he's waiting as long as he possibly can. Now Fairy Fires into the Shadow Realm. Full charge, and support coming in from Nongrata. And it's actually Always Want to Fly finding the kill. While that happened too, Mind Control died up on the north side. Kuro trying to find a little bit of revenge, beating into No Fear. Able to do so, but this is the perfect scenario for the Spec. Able to get solo experience around for 2 of them. Unless Mind Control can get some rebuttal, but that won't happen.
No. There's a lot of creeps as well here, so Silent has more than enough coverage. That went pretty well overall for Winstrike. Compared to the earlier games we've seen today against EG, where they kind of got...
Well, dumpstered.
They got crushed a decent amount in Game 2. In Game 1, they got run over. In Game 2, at this point, they were also relatively even, but it's already looking better than that. So, off to a better start relatively.
I like how the way you look at this. It's like, bit by bit, game by game, Winstrike are getting better.
Yes.
In position in every single game. But
So far today, every game is better.
Yeah. The fact that they have now a Spectre who's not sitting there going, oh, I have to rush an item or something like this because my other lanes are going horribly.
The fact that they don't have Drow this time seems to be doing well.
Yeah, they actually have something that does something. Like, it's a level 6 Spectre. He can haunt out if he wants to get out of this fight. Actually doesn't have the mana for it. 6 charges, but not enough life. Here comes No Fear. Observer Ward for Vision. He doesn't have Sprout leveled up because he's still a level 3 Nature's Prophet.
I have the Medallion though.
Yeah, Defensive Medallion will do the job.
No Fear really likes this item. He also rushes it on Chen, which is more common. The Chen players will get that as their absolute first item.
Matumba's doing a really good job of keeping these Spiderlings away from Iceberg. There's still 60 CS on Iceberg. So he's gotten a couple, but he's also just had free reign of the mid lane. Hit level 7 already. Matumba has hit 8.5.
Oh, bottom lane. Always Want to Fly is toast.
Sound check. Spectral Haunt looking for the rebuttal. Miracle is the main man. He's not level 6 yet. That's why there's such a great time to bring in Silent. Couple of skeletons chasing down Nongrata. They can farm them up for nothing really, but cleans them up. So 1-for-1 trade-off.
Yep. It's a good kill though. The gold did go to No Fear. I think they would have obviously liked to get that kill on the Spectre, but regardless, the nice thing about haunting down here in this game for Spec is that the lane matchup isn't that bad. He can just farm down here after he haunts down. And that is really the biggest difference between this game and the last 2 games we've seen from Winstrike. This game, it feels like all 3 of their cores can get involved, can fight early, and don't have a bad laning stage. And in addition to that, they have very active supports in the Nature's Prophet and Venge. So just from a drafting perspective, I love what we're seeing here from them. And if they can keep this early game up with this little of a deficit, this can turn into a great Spectre game. Oh, we could see an upset.
He's going to need to come up top right now. Silence under attack. There's more support arriving. The Bramble from GH. The rotation is right in the money, and Spec has no way out of it. And with the Brewmaster split, they have the extra control. Tiny will cancel his TP, but because of this, Always Want to Fly is dead. They just turned around Team Liquid, realizing the support is not coming, and Vengeful Spirit will be the double kill for Mind Control.
Jinxed it real good. At the very least, for
but
Winstrike.
you are getting so the advantage of the support is like no fear, he takes the kill, but if you're able to get this earned and then into something like a Spirit Vessel, it's going to cause a couple of problems for the Broodmother as
That's
well
a
as
good
the
item
Wraith
against
King.
Brood for sure.
So getting that nice and early means at least you can start to build up charges for when they're going to be needed.
And as far as Liquid goes, it's looking good, right, at this point. They just got those 2 kills. They didn't get to pressure the tower all that much, but Matumba Man is just free farming. Tiny can win the lane in the beginning, but at some point, Brood will just retreat into the jungle and just farm camps. That's what Brood does in pretty much every matchup. So everything, as far as Liquid are concerned, is probably going according to plan.
Yeah.
Now, if maybe they were hoping to be a bit further ahead than this. It's always a bit scary going into mid-game with a relatively even gold. No real gold difference with a Spectre team. But so far, so good, I would say.
Especially once they can start going for more plays with the Brood too. Like, Diffuser play is coming real quick.
It's bounty rune time
for the Broodmother. And you're right, 10-minute time. Iceberg's actually on a rotation with Smoke. Always want to fly an Iceberg coming north, but the rotation already came from Liquid. Silence the one attacked. He's got 21 charges available, so he can survive this. No fear TP's in. Almost a distraction. Now allow Iceberg to get the double avalanche. Looking for the toss. One more hit with the tree toss will kill off Mind Control, and they turn their attention over towards Kuro. Heavy rotations. Perfect Sprout block. Turns for a stun. But 2 hero kills. GH will actually grab 1. And potentially the second, he'll actually reach the second bounty rune. Let's always want to fly hits the stun. Even then, GH will get both of them.
I loved that smoke from Winstrike because I thought the plan was to go and fight at the bounty runes. But instead, they cross all the way to top, and sure, they get a good fight, but they didn't get the bounties. If that would have been bounty runes and a fight at those runes, that would have been super good for them. But they went up to help their Spectre. It's still an okay outcome for them, but Liquid don't really lose much by way of getting those bounties.
Prophet's going to TP down towards bottom lane. I think they want to try and break that Ank. And Miracle does leveled up. Silent will arrive, so they'll have to kill him twice over. Arrow, it doesn't connect at the right time.
A skeleton.
The skeletons came up at the perfect time to block it. And now Miracle turns some good damage into Silent, but it will not be enough. Miracle will die. Brings a lot of resources to do it, and while they're all down on bottom lane, Iceberg gets hunted down by the fresh Diffusal. It's an 11-minute Diffusal blade on Matumba.
Matumba's so far. He has 10 CS per minute.
He's at 6.4k net worth.
Yeah. He's far ahead of everyone else. I think Matumba plays the best mid-brood in the world, together with maybe Ramses from Virtus Pro. They're very, very good at finding farm and being effective and buying the right items. So you got to be wary of this as Winstrike. Your Spectre's game is pretty good, your Tiny's game is pretty good, but there's this one guy in the enemy team that's starting to take control of the map. You lost your mid-tower. What's his next objective? Do you want to fight him there, or do you want to try to make pressure on the other side?
Always when a fly is being hunted down by GH. No Fear wants to help him out. Thought about the Sprout, then realized this ain't happening. TP out. Miracle does not have the Hellfire Blast anymore. So away to safety. Kuro is starting the invasion into the Dire. But Nongrada's there to defend. He's got 2 Observer Wards on Kuro, and you know he wants to plant it on the hillsides. So they use a fake GH to give some cover. They're going again on mid.
Quick flank.
Yeah.
From Iceberg.
He's got friends nearby, but always want to fly still level 4.
Yeah.
Like 13 minutes into this game. Like, he just doesn't have anything to work with. He can't swap out to safety.
They need to give Venger lane. They can't keep being this underleveled on that hero. It's not very useful.
So they're trying to set up for a bottom lane fight, but always want to fly. Walks underneath the Observer Ward. Very easy detection and kill off, and then just rotate into the next hero kill. Kuro will take the stun of the arrow from Nongrada, but it's Matumba with a double kill. And Nongrada has just to leap away and get some distance. They still can't bring Silent in. Haunt is on cooldown for the moment. He doesn't have a weapon, like, he doesn't have an item to really fight with. He's trying to build up a Vanguard.
Yeah, I think this Vanguard is a mistake, because I know where he's coming from. It's a super good item against Broodmother, against all the Spiderlings, and he can definitely protect himself against that, but I think you've got to try to take a more aggressive approach. If you play to not die to Brood, you're basically conceding the map to Brood, right? If you don't itemize to kill, he will dominate you anyway. And that's what's happening right now. Nobody's dealing with Matumba Man at all. I think they need something on the Spectre, like a Diffusal Blade or a Manta, so that they can kill the Brood in their stuns. Make sure they have enough, bring him down.
But instead, they're trying to do this, get in behind the lines, attack into the tier 1 tower. But because the webs are already covering all the way towards the mid, Matumba just brings his army through the rear, and Nofi has no way to really survive this. He can't TP out in time. Iceberg will go down as well. And Team Liquid are all over Winstrike like a hot rash.
They're just making it look so easy.
Yeah.
The Broodmother is just totally in control of this game.
9K in the net worth. What's his experience per minute's almost 700.
He just owns 50% of the map, pretty much. Or 50% of Winstrike's side, rather. This entire bottom area here is... There's just not... There's nothing Winstrike can do if they don't invade this and push the Brood out by killing it. If they try to split push, I don't think they're fast enough to get anything meaningful out of it. So Liquid will just take their towers. You see it right now, all these summons with Wraith King as well as the Broodmother, forcing them to come down here.
Wrath of Nature is actually soaked up as well by all these spiderlings when they're in range.
Yeah,
Miracle doesn't get hit. In fact, he has the observer ward on the hill. That's why he knows how to dodge this. And Nongrata, you got 2 leap charges to survive. And he may need both of them soon. And yeah, now they see, and now they'll get rid of it. Tells Winstrike that the vision is on the hill. Silence.
So far.
Did you mention that Silent actually changed to Radiance?
No, I did not see that until now.
No. He's switching off the Vanguard. And it's just a never-ending battle for hill dominance.
The thing I'm worried about here is if he goes Radiance on Spectre, he's just going to get Cyclone by
Jump.
through.
Non-Grata. So much damage so quickly with the Terrorize. He can't even react with the leap. All the 1 charges. And then we're just waiting for the right time.
Liquid are so good at playing fundamentals with Broodmother. I was about to say it's cool to watch or nice to watch, but I don't like Brood, so it's like I can appreciate good play, but it's Brood. Well,
You say the same thing with techies?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I'd probably say the same thing. They're on my short list of heroes that I personally don't like very much, but yeah, you gotta appreciate good play, man. Like he's playing the hero super well. They're really using Broodmother as the centerpiece of this lineup and just taking full control of the map.
Try to use Wrath of Nature to hit into mind control. He's still got 8-1 charges and Bruce Split's coming off cooldown right now. Matumba's hunting for more kills. GH, they're actually having no options. Mind control TP's out with 4 heroes trying to hunt him. In fact, 5 heroes. Everyone from Winstrike is in reaching distance of that top lane.
I think they're taking the wrong approach to the game, and I think they have for the last 5 to 10 minutes. In my opinion, this is not how they need to play this game to deal with the Brood. They need to take the fight to the Brood. Oh, see Iceberg right now.
They got a stun. Kuro can't get in range in time.
But if they just accept that Matumba owns the jungle like this for 10 minutes, the map is falling apart. They haven't accomplished anything. If they feel like they can't fight because of their Spectre, they shouldn't have picked the hero. They picked it into Brood. But I think they have to try. You can't just accept this. Just watch Liquid completely demolish your side of the map. They own like 75% of the map. It's only going to end one way. If you don't shove this Brood out or have a lineup that can force Liquid to defend, which they don't seem to be able to do at all, you gotta take the fight, man. Like, it doesn't get easier.
Oh, the fight's coming. Miracle, blink forward. Leap does not disjoin that Hellfire Blast. They terrorize to ensure Nongrata again cannot react. GH is being so liberal with such a long cooldown ability. But it doesn't matter as long as they get the kill, they then take the objective directly after. Matumba is so down. He's almost finishing his AC.
Yep. What's his GPM at? 650.
Yeah. Always when a fly is in trouble. Iceberg just can't help. He's trying to go into a Shadow Blade. So at least maybe he can find some initiation, but Tier 2 tower gets lost in mid. And he could potentially turn their attention towards the top lane, but they'd never have to bring everybody. It's like Liquid could just spread out their resources, and you called it. Like, there's going to be a Vladimir's offering for extra sustain. It's on mind control.
Yeah. Amount of lifesteal they're going to have is pretty ridiculous. Currently, so there's currently 18% of the aura from Wraith King. Then there's the Vlads for another 15. And then there's the Broodmother ulti for another 2.5 million. It's only 100, but that's a lot. So what's that grand total? What did I say? 18 plus 15? It's 133% lifesteal. It's not bad. You hit for 250. You get an Omni heal every time you hit a hero.
And then you attack even faster because your bloodlust it up.
Radiant's bottom
And you got the Hyperstone, so attack speed from Matumba's through the roof. Yep.
Down goes Big Stone Boy, and I ain't talking about Tiny, the other guy, the bigger guy.
Is Roshan actually made of stone? I do not know the lore on him.
I do not know much lore in general. Ask your boy Slacks.
Yeah, where is Slacks?
I heard he's doing something.
Yeah, we hear
So that's great.
we hear
That's
that a lot.
great.
He's eating Oreos.
That could be both good and bad, actually. Slacks doing something can be both good and bad.
The Spirit Vessel is almost done for no fear.
All right, well...
Oh, hang on. Never mind. I take it back. He's a little bit further away now from his Spirit Vessel.
He tried to get the tower.
He did.
He did a little bit of damage. Oh, they're going to deny it. Yep.
Radiant's middle tower has been
Well, there's 2
compromised.
tier 1 towers that at least fell.
What's going to happen now is Liquid will wait for this AC on Matumba Man, and then they're going to try to push high ground most likely. With the Brewmaster split and with Skeletons from Wraith King, they feel like they will hit a great timing with the Radiance on the Wraith King too. It's like pretty much perfect. Everything is coming together around the same minute. They get these 4 bounty runes. That's the AC and the Radiance at the same time. I think you just go for it.
Cannot believe how fast Matumba can just move between these lanes. He goes up, he farms the side. Whoops, that wasn't part of the plan. Nice, Iceberg got some cash.
My control's just walking up and getting the rune. Nobody's here. They're too late again. Arrow, not going to land.
No, fly past mind control, so all the bounty runes as well. That's the money. And that's the money for Matumba. So Assault Cuirass 20 minutes into the game.
AC, Radiance, any other big item they got, they just got the Vlads. Like, it's just, this is such a strong spike when you look across
GH
the
is
board.
his own Spirit Vessel, sure.
Yep, they got that too.
Radiant are
Liquid have 2 choices now. They can try to fight this top tower, defend it, or they can just be like, we don't care, and just go high ground.
They're doing both.
I don't know about that one, though.
Okay, GH and Mind Control looked like they were heading north, but it's bottom lane. There
Radiance
are
is
so
ready.
many skeletons, and they all move towards the Hellfire Blast and target, and it's Spec. He gets swapped back out again. Silent burns a little bit, but look at the army. It moves forward, takes so much damage thanks to actually the Starfall and the Avalanche. VS will die, but a very quick buyback. Now Iceberg can try and go for these kills, tosses the Ogre around, finds that pick off. No tier 3 towers lost. And this incursion from Team Liquid is at least repelled for now.
Now you imagine that fight with a Brewmaster. They just didn't have him. Both Brewmaster and Willow were on the other side of the map. It looked like Liquid were trying, like you said, to pull 2 plays at the same time. But now they're together, and they might just go in anyway with a dead Ogre.
Miracle, there's your jump forward right on top of Nongrata, and they just crit him down. Matumba will take that kill, but they also get the lockdown thanks to the Bramble Major onto Spec. So Silent is gone, always want to fly under control, and the Brewmaster Chaos is created. It just keeps everyone under control underneath the tier 4 towers. Prophet was able to TP back out again, but one by one, Iceberg, he tries to come in for something more, able to kill up the Dark Willow, but they just can't fight this.
Oh my god, the damage. AC Medallion and then the crit from Brewmaster and Wraith King, I think that was at the same time.
Yeah, they're back again. Matumba's just like, more.
He has Aegis, so can play a little bit.
Nope.
Can play very calm. Leap, leap. Yep.
And Matumba,
man.
after no fear. This is done. This is dusted. We're 22 minutes in, but this game is over. There's no way that Liquid even need to leave the base of Winstrike. The second someone comes in range, he just becomes another kill. He becomes an extra padding for fantasy points. And they still can't even break the reincarnation of the Wraith King. He'll be ready to turn around and steal some life in just a second. Well, no, there goes the reincarnation. But always want to fly. And the Hellfire Blast up to Nongrata. GG. GG indeed. It's a good day to have Miracle on your team. 20.7 fantasy points just for this one game.
Nice.
I love it. I love it. It's not like we're all about the fantasy points, but we're all about the fantasy points. That's real solid for Liquid.
Yeah, it's a straightforward game from them. They third pick the Broodmother. They do get counterpicked by a Tiny in the lane. They do a little bit of lane switcheroos, get off to a pretty good start for that reason. And honestly, this felt like a completely free Brood game. Like, Matumba Man didn't even get contested once. And I said it a couple of times during the game, but it looks to me like when I watch these games that this Winstrike team, they just seem a bit stifled. Like they're not as hungry and as aggressive as we've seen them before. They seem to second guess themselves, or just their rotations are not as crisp. Their spell casting, You see this game, for example, the Venge is totally out of the game, level 4 minute 14 or something. And that's a result of not playing the lanes effectively and getting successful moves. You need to make space for this Venge to come back in the game, but the moves themselves just aren't working.
Yeah.
And against Brood in particular. Okay, so Brood, we'll see this hero more this tournament. We will be seeing Brood. Brood is a hero that you don't just leave alone and pretend doesn't exist for 20 minutes. It's farming more than you. It's farming your side of the map. So not only is it getting rich, but it's denying you farm. So it's like winning 50% more than another hero would be because it takes away from you. You need to take the fight to it. You need to shove it out of your jungle, or your lineup has to go somewhere, put pressure on towers, force the rest of the team back so that you claim something. But in this game, did they take a tower, Winstrike? Maybe they got one tower.
There was tower on bottom and tower in mid went down, but I think one of them
mid got denied, and that was late. That was like minute 17 or 18. It was toward the end of the game.
Late for this game, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. If Liquid get their Brood and they get to play like this, I feel like they're just not really gonna lose games.
Yeah.
So you gotta approach it differently.
Well, they have another chance. Game number 2 coming up in just a bit. Will Winstrike be able to get on the board for today? Or will it be 2-0s as they go up against number 1 and number 2 ranked in their group right now? We'll find out after the break. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Winstrike versus Team Liquid, game number 2. Yeah, we're... I don't hear you at all.
I just realized that.
Yeah.
Team Liquid's
did you mute
turn to
yourself?
ban. Winstrike's turn to
You're wearing the wrong headset again, aren't you? Yeah, you're wearing the wrong headset. Yeah, you're wearing the wrong headset again.
Team Liquid's
Cinder's just
turn to
changing around
ban.
headsets because we had the 3 guys in here before.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks,
There you
Cinder.
Let's just blame production.
You actually...
Totally not my fault.
In the break, he actually took his headset off, started playing with it in his lap, and then put the other headset on his head.
I'm sorry.
That's some special. I thought I was having special
That was a
moments.
mistake.
10 seconds remaining.
Okay.
It was a mistake. So into game 2 we go.
Yes.
Liquid Winstrike. First game, Liquid pretty much dominated with a mid brood, and this time they won't get it. Winstrike banned it first phase, not giving Liquid even a chance to grab it this time around.
They got something against it.
Yeah, Liquid does have first pick, so I actually don't think it's that bad of a ban. We've seen, I believe, both VP and Liquid pick Brood as their last pick of the first phase. I do believe so, at least. So, yep, get that out of the way. Keep their options open instead.
We still have the other
Don't have to worry about it.
nice heroes we'd like to go
5
for.
seconds
Necro is still in
remaining.
the pool. Vengeful Spirit's been kind of that first pick hero that everyone just kind of gravitates towards now. But no one dying, and they'll take out the Enchantress. Almost forgot the Enchantress. She's been 100% ban rate these days.
Not quite, but
Pretty high
banned a
up there.
lot.
Pretty high
It
up
is
there.
the most banned hero of the tournament so far.
So Team Liquid have their choice.
Yeah,
Do we also see the potential Weaver
could be.
grab? I don't know if you need to throw mind control on that. Like,
10
they were
seconds
so
remaining.
They might just first pick Dark Willow, I think.
yeah.
5
G-
seconds
It's the new
remaining.
GH hero. Get him warmed up for main event.
I mean, he's got to play a Keeper of the Light at some point because that hero
Perhaps.
still has not been picked, I believe.
I could definitely see Caudal
Winstrike's
Bristle. Oh, it has
turn to pick.
Caudal Bristle has been played. It got played by Fnatic earlier.
Oh, it did?
They did play Caudal, yeah.
Then they ticked off a couple because I know there's 13 heroes that haven't been picked, but I forgot which
All
ones
right.
they were.
Well, Wraith King, they had it last game as one of their first 2. They feel like it's a great pick, so they'll just grab it overall first again and see what Winstrike have got to show here. Perhaps, so this... I feel
10
like
seconds
maybe the
remaining.
reason that Liquid are rating this hero so high is that they can also play it on support on Kuroki.
5
Maybe they have like some
seconds
sort of
remaining.
plans where they play it as a 5 and just play it with a stout shield and some mangoes or something and go to lanes.
You make it sound like the old the Jimmy Tidehunter, Demon Tidehunter, where you walk around with just a bottle. I was like, it's fine. I got 2 gushes up my sleeve, and that's all I really need. Gets a bottle refill. Got another 2 gushes up his sleeve.
Yeah. Well, Wraith King's stun has got a severely reduced mana cost compared to what it used to be. It used to be 140, now I think it's 95 on
Winstrike's
level 1.
turn to pick.
So you can cast it multiple times even as a support, and could be the reason. Maybe Liquid are also just like, you know what, we consider this hero a 1 and a 3, but we think it's good enough that we can pick it first overall and just do whatever we want.
We're going down the same road again. Nature's Prophet and Vengeful Spirit pick up from Winstrike. And it wasn't that bad a game for Nature's Prophet last game.
No.
It's just they didn't have an answer to the Brood. So
Brood ruined their game.
So this if they could do the same type of thing now, it should be a lot more. Hey!
Speak of the devil.
Yeah, Keeper of the Light is now here.
Yep. Gonna see what they pair it up with. There's the Drow ban again. Not gonna give Drow to the Venturion side. And
Yep.
instead now they have this Keeper of the Light that I would imagine you will see Liquid perhaps pull out a Bristleback this game. I definitely think it's... I feel like that's a hero they've played in the past on both Mind Control and Matumba Man. Something tells me that I've seen both. Maybe even an odd Miracle game as well. So that's one of the classic Caudal combos. You could see Caudal Storm. Great hero for Miracle. Good hero against both Furion and the Venge. So definitely a possibility. But let's wait and see where they go with the Caudal. Of course, Caudal, we haven't really seen it much this tournament. This is the first game we get to cast it.
Yeah.
One of the latest changes to Caudal is that Chakra Magic is free.
10 seconds remaining.
So you never run out of mana with Caudal anymore. You can always cast the spell.
5 seconds
and
remaining.
apart from that, he is pretty much the same hero
Why
as
do
he's
you
been
think
for
he
months.
wasn't picked up as much? Like it took until today for him to be selected. Is it
Winstrike's turn
is it
to
just not
ban.
perfectly fitting inside the meta? Or is he more pushed towards like aggressive trial lanes? Is there just better heroes? Like,
It's
what
it's
do
a
we
hero
got?
I have a bit of a hard time placing actually, because I feel like conceptually, he should be pretty strong in a lot of dual lanes. If you pick the right heroes with it, you push out the lane with Illuminate, you clip the heroes, and you pull the
10
lane.
seconds remaining.
You can stack jungle while you're pushing the lane, and
5
you know
seconds
he has some
remaining.
decent advantages. I think maybe part of the reason we're not seeing it that much is that nowadays you pick your supports relatively early, and there are a lot of heroes that are pretty good right now that just eat Coddle alive. Like, you see the Phantom Lancer ban here from Liquid. That's a hero that Coddle really struggles with. Storm is popular this tournament. We've seen a lot of popularity in getting Shadow Blades in general, which is a great way of finding and killing off Keeper of the Light. So
Yeah.
it could be like all those factors just add up. And obviously the teams try stuff in scrims, right? Like, you play stuff, you get a feel for it, and maybe the teams that have tried Coddle haven't found much success with it in their games. And sometimes you draw conclusions maybe based on too few games
Turn
or
to pick.
whatever it might be.
Here's another fun question: is Night Stalker?
That-
Because I'm thinking, like, if we're starting to counter Keeper of the Light and think of the worst heroes against him, the Never-Ending Darkness
Yeah.
makes his Aghanim's a pain in the butt. But then you have to push Prophet to 3, or Night Stalker himself to 3.
I think if they get the Night Stalker, I think they run it on Non-Grata
10
as a position
seconds
3.
remaining.
But Night Stalker has not been looking hot lately.
Yeah.
5
He got nerfed
seconds
really hard. I
remaining.
think he got nerfed more than he needed, actually. He kind of vanished. We'll see. Maybe the Coddle can make them think about it. There's other heroes in the pool that are great, obviously, against him. Nyx Assassin is a very classic Coddle counter. When he casts Illuminate, it's super telegraphed. It's very easy to hit with Spike Carapace, and then you have the Vendetta to find him, similar to what I said with the Shadow Blade logic.
Yeah.
Mana Burn kills him. Yeah. Nyx is good against this hero.
Yeah. A lot of issues for Keeper of the Light. Winstrike, though, they don't know exactly what they want to do, considering how much reserve time they're burning on this third pick. But they got 30 seconds left, and they're not going to burn all of it.
Turn to pick.
And hey.
Damn, they actually did it.
Yeah, they're doing it.
The absolute madmen. They actually did it.
But on the bright side, this is the aggression you've been asking for from Winstrike. Like,
Sure.
they have to run him as an aggressive hero, as
It's
a
great.
rotating hero.
Yeah.
Work with the Prophet.
They can play aggressive half the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well-
the rest of the time, they can
Winstrike's turn to
not be
pick.
good in lane.
Oh.
Oh, interesting support duo. Chen Coddle. That's very unusual. The logic here for them might be, okay, now we just put Coddle with Wraith King, and we get the double stuns with the Wraithfire Blast. And Chen can support whatever hero we have in the other lane.
But now
So-
Chen also feeds into the power for Clinks with the Death Pact.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I think this, I don't know, it feels to me like people just think back years sometimes when they think about counters. They're like, oh yeah, we used to pick Clinks against
10
Chen and it was very
seconds
good. But I
remaining.
think that it doesn't feel the same way to me anymore. And the reason is,
5
so first of all,
seconds
Chen is a lot
remaining.
stronger in laning now, and it matters more than back then. The second thing is Death Pact has a really long duration, but also a long cooldown. So there's a 20-second downtime on it. If you run into a fight and you've just eaten a creep, you're not going to have Death Pact again.
But
Like, you're
it's-
not going to eat a Chen creep in that fight.
It's still got the bonus HP, though, right? So you still have that extra...
Yeah, but are you really going to rely on running into a team fight, saving your ulti, eating a Chen creep? If you run into a sentry, you're just dead because you don't have Death Pact running.
Yeah,
it's like,
true.
It's really dangerous. I don't think you think of Clinks that way. I personally do not consider the hero a Chen counter at all anymore. I don't think it works that way. Clinks is even not the strongest laner, and Chen is a lane dominator, so he can counter Clinks that way. I'm not feeling it. I don't think that was the way to go. So they're gonna get Dragon Knight. This is actually vintage Liquid stuff. This is such a strong 5-man push with Keeper of the Light Eggs.
Yeah.
They're gonna hit a timing when Winstrike's teamfight just doesn't stand a chance. Winstrike have to skirmish. They have to make chaos around the map. They have to find kills. If Winstrike play as slowly as they did last game, they're not gonna win this game.
And then you still got that other question mark, right? Like, where does the Wraith King even go? Like, does this even belong to mind control?
Yeah, we'll see.
They don't have to do this. The Visage is the one that's banned out by Winstrike.
Yep. They could have plenty of options here. Like you said, the Wraith King could both be a 3 and a 1.
seconds
The
remaining.
Dragon Knight can technically also be both a 3, a 1, and 2. You don't have to put it mid.
5 seconds
If
remaining.
if you don't like the matchup he has, I think he's pretty good against Clinks just because of the extra armor and regen. Clinks generally wins his lane mid by harassing the opponent away with searing arrows, but Dragon Knight can hold his own with some regen and the passive for sure. So maybe Winstrike will be looking for a different counter pick and put Klinks in a side lane. But do you want to put Klinks in any of these side lanes? Do you want to play against Chen in a side lane, or do you want to play against Caudle in a side lane as Klinks? Both those lanes suck, man. Like that's really bad matchups.
Unless you got the vision to see him like channeling the Illuminate. It's
Yeah,
You're
Night
gonna get
Stalker
hit
will give
all
you
the
that during
time.
daytime.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Hey, considering Night Stalker was the hero I know you best for, Mr. Night Stalker Yule Scepter.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
It was.
I love Night Stalker. I love the hero. I think it's great. It's just right now it's not great. But the hero itself through the years has actually been a really good pick, and I think it's very entertaining to play and watch, but he's definitely not in his best place right now. I haven't played the hero for quite a long time. I don't go into a game and look at the picks and I'm like, yeah, I really want to play Night Stalker, because I just feel like I'm not really gonna. I'm gonna dream back to the days when it was good when I play it. It's not a hot hero right now, but who knows? Maybe Winstrike can make it look good. As always, I'm always ready to be surprised. It's great to see surprising and different stuff. So
The final ban from Team Liquid now. They're probably
Team
thinking about
Liquid's turn to pick.
They're thinking about a Venomancer, it seems. Not a hero you would think would threaten Team Liquid that much. Like, they got so much sustain.
well, he's pretty good at just walling up and defending the towers, and that's something they definitely rely on in this lineup. Is going to push towers.
So they're worried about the full defense of Winstrike.
Yeah, a lot of vision advantage too. When you have both the Night Stalker and the Venomancer, you could get a lot of vision at nighttime that could be difficult to deal with. I can see where they're coming from here.
Yes, and Ursa Warrior. We're going into hunt mode.
Yep.
Classic Batumperman hero.
They want this hero against Night Stalker. They're assuming Night Stalker's a core, and they probably feel like if we force Night Stalker onto support, he's going to be worthless. So that's a win in itself. Night Stalker has two pretty bad side lanes now. One is going to have an Ursa, and the other one's going to have a Caudle Wraith King. That is
10
not
seconds
easy
remaining.
at all.
You don't harass anything in this.
No.
5 seconds remaining.
In any lane you think you have an advantage, the Chen will just rotate over. They can just be real aggressive. So Winstrike needs something that just hits harder and faster and earlier.
I wonder if... I'm pretty sure they'll put Sound on Klinks, and they'll last pick a hero for Iceberg. I think it's going to be a safe lane Klinks regardless. It's not an Iceberg hero.
Just get him something like an Invoker and just like, hey, Iceberg, just do what you do best, all right?
Crosswax is not bad this game. I think they have the damage to go with it.
And their answer. Okay. He was one of the 12 or 13 heroes that hadn't been played yet.
They just picked two heroes that haven't been played LTI yet
Yeah.
in the same game.
Yeah.
Widely considered very weak.
I think they may be trying to complete their compendiums.
Well, there is logic to this OD pick because it actually has 3 good matchups. None of these heroes want to go against OD mid. It's really tricky playing Dragon Knight against. I think Ursa loses that lane hard as well, and definitely Wraith King doesn't stand a chance. So the logic is sound from a laning perspective, but from a teamfight perspective, Winstrike's lineup is really lacking. They don't have much in the way of pushing towers. They only have Treants. Klinks is like, I don't really count it as a pusher because it's very situational when he can really hit towers. In team fights, they have like no AoE lockdown, no control. And, well, they're going to be 5-manning this Liquid squad at some point, and this OD better have some items or nobody's going to die. That's pretty much my prediction for this team fight.
Even if they 5-man, like, what happens if they get hit by Blinding Light? Like, and the amount of damage they do is going to be repaired by Hand of God. It's going to be repaired by the Lifesteal or the straight up regeneration that comes along with Miracle. I'm not going to count GH into this. I doubt if you'll even look at building into an Aghanim Scepter
I think
against the Night Stalker.
I think he's going to go Force Ags regardless. Something that Liquid is really good at is playing timings. And what you can do when it's daytime is you go somewhere, you start a fight, Night Stalker has to darkness, and you disengage. And when that darkness ends, you know you have this window, this span of one window, 1 minute, whatever it is, depending on the ulti level.
A window of time.
Yes. The span of one window against Night Stalker, depending on his level, where you are just way superior. Like, it kind of doesn't really matter to me what items Winstrike
Prepare
build
for
if they're not far ahead when daytime comes. They don't stand a chance against a Caudle Lags outside of the darkness.
Okay, not good.
We'll see about that.
All right, so...
By the way, probably a surprise to many people, this is not a Matumba Man Ursa. It's mind control playing Ursa.
It is a mind controller, so
I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
it's Matumberman on the Wraith King
Yep.
and Miracles on the DK.
Miracle Dragon Knight.
All right. Oh,
Very interesting.
you know, it's actually something that Mind Control had been to me in Shanghai. It's like, I hate the offlane because it gets so boring. I play the same heroes every time, and this is just the way it is. I always like something that makes
30
life
seconds to
interesting,
battle.
so I don't have to fall asleep. And this will make things interesting for him. Kind of makes
Yeah.
him a little bit of a throwaway hero too, right? Like, because you put the Ursa, I don't know if you still give him the Aegis Immortal because Wraith King's got his own Ankh, but Mind Control can just jump in, be aggressive. If he dies, okay, that's cool, but it'll take so much with the Enrage.
Yeah.
The
Definitely not
battle
going to die during
begins.
Enrage.
It's a 2/2 rune.
Yep, 2 for 2. And this will indeed be the Wraith King, Keeper of the Light lane. This is a strong lane. Wraith King's stun is 2 seconds into 2 seconds of slow, so Illuminate will always connect on it. And once Keeper of the Light is level 2 and has the Chakra, it lowers the cooldown of the Wraith King stun by 3 seconds level 1, and the cooldown of that spell is 11. So you very quickly, when these heroes just get a couple of levels each, so you get like maybe level 3 Wraithfire Blast and level 2 or 3 on the Illuminate, or sorry, Chakra Magic, you can chain the stuns. And you put some skeletons in the mix, it ain't easy.
GH is going to have to play the inside the Fog of War, though. With the Blindstone on No Fear, GH goes down to -2 armor, and then they just Searing Arrow up. This is not a fun lane for him to be in. So you talk about getting to level 2, but Matumba and GH are getting forced out of the lane. So aren't very willing to be over-aggressive about things. And then Miracle having to play against Iceberg. This'll also be an interesting matchup for the DK to try and tank because Iceberg just runs at him. He's using a 0-1-1, so hope he triggers up the Essence and then just keeps beating into Miracle.
Most likely Iceberg will go 1-1-3, I think. And he will keep Astral level 1 in this game and look to completely dominate Miracle by getting levels in Arcane Orb. But you don't have the mana to sustain the Orb in the beginning, so probably it's 1 value point in Astral and then straight into Essence Aura Focus.
And he's really just trying to make sure that Miracle is not part of this lane.
It's a very bad lane matchup for Dragon Knight. It's one of the worst. Miracle's not doing too bad, though. It's 4-0. Got his level 3. But he will clearly lose this lane.
Yeah. Until support can move over. Kuro puts the Penitence down. Mind Control realize he'll have to cut through the tree line. Troll Trap is out. And that's why they just slow him up with the Magic Missile. Took the Creep Wave along with him. Get the Breathe Fire off. Iceberg does no damage at this. Well, not no damage, just very minimal damage to Miracle. And then he has to steal the Arcane Rune.
Just what I've been waiting.
He's maxing Astral Imprisonment. I don't know, man. I don't know
is.
if that's the approach to this
Dire's
lane.
middle tower is under
Oh,
attack.
VS.
That's a kill.
Yeah, Troll Trap. And it was Penitence again. Exactly the same combination. This time, though, it was successful.
So I'm not an OD player myself, and I've barely seen the hero played for months. So it's hard for me to know truly what to do with it. Iceberg has played this hero a lot in the past, so I'm sure he has good reasons for doing what he does. But what I do remember for sure is in the past with the old OD, you would max Arcane Orb early together with the Essence Aura and use that to dominate lanes against these melee heroes that just can't fight back without mana. But in this case, he is going 0-2-2, so perhaps you just can't sustain mana anymore with this build. I feel like you could, though. With, let's say you go 2-1-3, for example.
They're looking to kill off GH. He's just going to Illuminate spam, try and help out Matumberman to find the kills. Nature's Prophet was actually looking for the jump to start with, but Matumberman's taking way too much damage from the Searing Arrows of Silent.
Really nice stutter stepping from Sound. That was beautiful. It's one thing to strafe and just hit heroes, right? But when you perfectly move between every single attack like that and waste pretty much no time, that's when you know you master the
No
hero.
money for
Now Matumba and GH have to do it the old-fashioned way again. It's 1-1. On the board, GH is into the trees. Not battling from the side, not trying to be in the way of Nature's Prophet, who is now TPing out. But hey, look where Nature's Prophet goes. He is the master of the trees. Makes a clearing, and GH is now on the run. This off lane of Team Liquid just doesn't seem to have the same bite as it did before.
It's definitely not going that well for them. The Nature's Prophet is He's countering off the Coddle really nicely.
It's a good
In
start.
the meantime,
It's a good start for the Clinks.
In the meantime, this Night Stalker is activated.
Hey, going after Kuro. It is nighttime. Oh,
Player
that's what
5
you meant
has
by meantime.
Joined the Wait, what? No, it wasn't.
Oh.
What do you mean? Well, he's activated, so he's ready to rock and roll. Obviously, this lane is tough. The Ursa kill is very difficult, but can at least grab some CS, maybe put some pressure on the Chen if he wants to. I'll see.
Miracle really needs to have that. Well, can he complete the soul? Yeah, it's coming on the courier now. I'm like, he had something else in his quick buy. He had magic wand in his quick buy. Like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Always want to fly on the run. Troll Trap, Penitence, Centaur Stomp will be available, but Kuro knows he doesn't have enough damage and mind control. Runes are the priority, and that's exactly what's happening on bottom lane. GH dies, and No Fear TP's down, takes the runes, and Matumba will get absolutely nothing. One more Searing Arrow will do it, but No Fear's currently burning. Matumba will salve up. He has to run away from the skeleton army of Matumba.
That was 3 runes, I think, for Winstrike. Yep. They're looking good in this early game. This is the first game I've seen of Winstrike where they're clearly ahead minute 5 on net worth.
Might have some trouble though. Iceberg just uses Imprisonment aggressively against Miracle. They've got Dragon Tail plus the dual breath, but they don't have the range available. Hellfire Blast comes off cooldown in 1 second time, but Always Wanna Fly does his own rotation in, so Miracle, he wonders exactly what he wants from this. Night Stalker's TP'd over too, so now Liquid, they don't have the numbers. And Matumba, they'll slow him down with the Void up the hill. The attack will not miss, so Iceberg will claim that one, turning their attention now over towards Miracle. And are both the cores of Team Liquid going to die within the span of like 30 seconds underneath their own Tier 1 tower? Answer is definitely yes. Imprisonment will finish the job.
This is a huge kill because Miracle tried to stun the Venge and TP out. He tried to be cheeky there, but level 1 stun doesn't last long enough for that play to be possible with the turn rates included. And Winstrike are just dominating them right now. Like, this is...
Yeah, they're everywhere.
This is very refreshing to see. They are just pressuring all the lanes.
This is the aggressive nature you want to see from Winstrike. And they're forced to do it. They're forced to get up in their face. Kuro will take the top tower. But they do have ways to stall, right? Like, you've still got the Coddle Blast. You've still got Chen Army to do the split push.
For sure, but your skirmishing power in this lineup is not that good. So if the lanes go poorly, these night times are going to be very dangerous. Winstrike have multiple ways of combining their heroes to make kills. Night Stalker with Nature's Prophet, Night Stalker with Venge, Venge with the OD, especially once Arcane Orb starts being leveled up. Venge with Clinks, we've seen how ridiculous damage Clinks can do already with just the Searing Arrows. You put a Blightstone in the mix and the minus armor from Wave of Terror. It's, I dare say we might have a much more interesting game on our hands this time.
Fantastic vision work as well from Winstrike. That Observer Ward they left behind the mid lane saw Kuro's gank attempt onto Iceberg. So Kuro just wasted a good 30 seconds just sitting in the mid lane, hoping for an opportunity and keep her alive. What the hell happened to him? Silent now becomes another target, but Tupman goes after him. Doesn't have the extra life. Iceberg does die in the mid lane eventually. Always Want to Fly rotation. He cannot reach it. So as far as missing kills, we're looking good.
Yeah, they basically, killing this OD is the biggest kill on the whole map because they bring Miracle back in the game this way. Chen has somewhere meaningful to go now. He wants to get new creeps and get ready to push the mid tower, or maybe he's just looking for a bit of XP. Yeah, he has his creeps off bottom lane, Matumba's dead.
Yeah.
Dude, did you see the Coddle die to Clinks?
I did not.
Coddle has 2 armor and 600 health. He literally got killed by 2 Searing Arrows from 3/4 health or something.
I think Mind Control might be dead as well. Nongrata's just got one more hit. Would have done the job. And Mind Control didn't even TP back to base. He TP'd out to the shrine. He doesn't want to slow down his progression. Kuro's ready to go again on mid. They just keep waiting for Iceberg to use Astral Imprisonment and then come forward. Troll Trap, 1 stomp, 2 stomp. Dragon Tail stun, they'll use that instead, and the Illuminate from GH clipping into Always Want to Fly. Kuro's positioning of the Centaur saw so much of this coming, but he did not see Silent, who could now actually use that Death Pact in the middle of this fight to gain that little bit of extra strength to now turn around. Mind Control does not have Enrage available, and No Fear, Sprout is up. He needs one quick control. Now Sprout Miracle, they'll stun Mind Control. It's a little bit of targeting at least, but with the negative armor hitting, Mind Control and Miracle do not want to hang around. They've got the Centaur with the stun available, so a space can be created by this. But Team Liquid are getting out. They're buying time. Matumberman's farming up on bottom lane. I suppose Non-Grata's having the same type of thing, where daytime and Night Stalker's able to find space to farm.
He's level 7 on NS. This is a really good early game for Night Stalker. He's got the Urn, Phase Boots. He's currently 4th on the net worth, more net worth than the mid Dragon Knight. That's very solid for Non-Grata right now.
Prophet's jumping in mid. Miracle's able to get the stun off pretty quickly. Sprout will have to go blind up the hill if he was going to get it instantly, but Miracle cuts through. He is so low.
Oof.
But enough life to get back.
Definitely could have been a kill for Winstrike with a better teleport from No Fear. Teleported next to him, so got instant Dragon Tailed, and then when he gets the Sprout off, Miracle just quells out of it. If he TPs behind Miracle and puts a Sprout up that doesn't surround him, but rather blocks his path, the classic behind the hero Sprout, that could have been a kill, but Miracle cool under pressure, as always.
Can't believe the fact that Matumba still doesn't have level 6, but Silent. Sentry Ward gets planted down, no way to really hide. Wrath of Nature bounces through, but with the Illuminant, they have the damage. It's Miracle who claims the kill. Much needed money, they'll finish up his treads.
Yeah, strong invasion here from Liquid. They're taking advantage of the daytime. Night Stalker did at least get one bounty rune top. He took it just in front of the Ursa. That was less than half a second away from grabbing it. But at the very least for them, they got that. Liquid still pull back in a gold lead. They haven't had this since the game began, I think, actually.
You are pretty much correct. They had it for a short period of time around the 3-minute mark.
And now they're looking to take this tower. So putting on the teamfight pressure, they know that Winstrike's lineup is not good at playing this type of game, but
here comes
they
Darkness.
might still be good enough.
In through the rear. You already got the courier delivering an extra ward during the middle of the fight. Start the first stun out, but it's really the Vengeful Spirit. Always want to fly, bit off a lot more than he can chew. And Non-Grata was battling Keeper of the Light, but there was no real follow-up. Now Iceberg will arrive. He doesn't have the Eclipse available, and they're still fighting into the Illuminate Blast. So no creep waves really available at all. Instead, it's just, okay, it will be Kuro tying with the Wrath of Nature going through most of Team Liquid. And he'll lose his Chen army. These blasts not really connecting anymore, and inside the darkness, Liquid don't see the targets they want. Miracle will complete his TP out. That seems like a pretty good scenario for Team Liquid.
Yeah, they managed to force a fight at the tower, and the way Winstrike opened that fight didn't really work. They couldn't come together and open on a hero at the same time. Ideally, you want the Night Stalker and Clinks to just find a hero and lay into him, or TP in the Furion behind to get a Sprout that the Clinks can hit in something like this. But Liquid were playing it fast, and Winstrike were not set up.
Prophet jumping in behind the lines. They want to stop GH.
Oh, he did.
Fantastic combination when you got them together. Prophet can TP in, Sprout get the vision on the Keeper of the Light, who loves to play from the tree lines and just go full defensive. Mid lane always want to fly. Miracle started up, but now OD comes into the fight. You can swap him back in. Kuro's nearby, trying to send Miracle all the way home. They have the damage dropping. Now Sandy's Eclipse to find the kill. And Kuro will have to use his Sentinel to create some more space to survive.
And in the meantime, Silent also got a bottom tower. So again, swing the other way. Winstrike looking good again.
But Matumberman also got space up on top.
That he did. He's still really far behind, though.
Oh, yeah.
He is 7th on net worth in this game. He is behind the support Nature's Prophet.
Speaking of Prophet, you're starting his TP again. Non-Grata goes up towards the skies, comes back down again, and you'll just be there to lend aid to increase the earn charges.
GH is having a rough time, man. He's 0-5.
Keeper of the Light's a hero, right?
And we were talking about Keeper of the Light and what the weaknesses are. I think this is showcasing what can happen to the hero. If you have the right counters, which they have a couple of, it's really hard. He has to go somewhere and cast Illuminate, but jungling is not as appealing anymore. And if you start illuminating in the lanes against these kind of heroes, if they see you, you're dead. You just dive and kill him.
And none of these cores can really do much. I wonder if we... Oh, okay, they're actually going to 3-man smoke up and kill off Matumba. If their timing is right, Winstrike just need to wrap around the high side, which is exactly what they do. They walk the right angle, and Iceberg 4 stars forward into the imprisonment. Now surround him. GH's blast will be able to connect onto 4 heroes, and they look to turn around. Remember, he's got the reincarnation with the breathe fire, and the Illumina did a lot of damage, and they swap them down. Always want to find ones to stay in the fight, but Tumble will go down. Another Illumina connects, and the Chen army wrapping around from behind. Winstrike. They thought they were in power, but they were blinded by the light.
5-man Illuminate, 5-man Breathe Fire, and then another great Illuminate from GH. That looked like Liquid knew exactly what was happening, and they just baited their Wraith King. They responded so quickly, really good spellcasting and positioning from them, and they get the Roshan as well. That was sick.
What is he up to? He's bouncing around with Hunter and the Knight around Roshan. He can't do anything more about it.
Just
Oh, mind control. Has a blink dagger up. Very willing to fight. See, I was going to say before all this began that mind control feels like he's that non-factor hero at the moment. He's just been sitting, farming, bounces around, but it's like,
Well, now he's top net worth and has an Aegis and a dagger, so
Yep, now he feels
surely
good.
now's the time. 15 minutes, there's bounty runes to be claimed, and Winstrike, they have found a target.
Yeah.
It's your old boy, Keeper of the Light.
All right.
Look at this.
Sure, boom, boom, boom. Blinding
okay.
light,
He has
space
some armor.
created.
Wait, what?
But then Nongrata comes up. He'll get the range with the Void. Always want to fly. They are really showing some hatred towards GH.
I thought that was going to go faster, actually. I'm surprised. I thought Sound would 3 or 4 shot him.
Has fallen.
Guess.
It's 3-3-3-1.
Yeah, I was just looking at Caudle. I thought maybe he got something, but not really.
Boom.
Always go faster.
Too easy. Breathe fire burn. No fear. Ticks down. Miracle's still on the run. It was the VS Illusion that was chasing him, and that gave
They know
away
where he is.
position. So into the trees. Miracle. Now that Hunter and the Knight goes down, they'll see him, but...
So I think this is a tricky situation to be Night Stalker in, because you need to use Hunter in the Night to make sure you know where Dragon Knight is. But do you use it then, assuming that he will TP out in the trees that you just ran past? Or do you think he'll run the whole way and TP out in the trees to the right? And unfortunately for Nongrata, he guessed wrong. If he would have held his Hunter in the Night there, that's a 100% kill on Miracle. Now they got nothing, and they lose their mid tier 1. Very quick movement here. Miracle TP to mid.
Radiant's
It's daytime! Play a game of nighttime, daytime.
Yeah, darkness is ready, but this fight is...
It doesn't
It's
look like
rough.
it's worth taking.
It's hard to
Iceberg,
take.
maybe with an Invis rune, we'll consider it. There's 4 sentries currently on Kuro. And you know he's going to start to play some down. Yep, there's your first one, Iceberg. Stay out of range of that green circle if you wish to live. They send the Treants in instead with the Wrath of Nature bouncing through Kuro's army, but they tank up most of it.
And GH has a very important item now. This is an excellent pickup in this game, the Ghost Scepter. Great against Clinks, great against OD. Decent against Night Stalker too. So he's probably going to stay alive in the coming fights. And I feel like an overlooked aspect of this Ghost Scepter is the 5-all attributes. Like, people just think about only the passive or the active part, but it does have that passive component to it, and those attributes make a difference.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Oh, Iceberg's taking a decent creep wave down to bottom lane, going to team up with No Fear. So Team Liquid, they're just going for the full trade-off. The Skeleton army is alive and really forcing hard into that tier 2 tower. Keeper of the Light wants to slow down the push. GH has a level 4 Illuminate mind control. The 4-star from Iceberg creates a little bit of space away from the enraged up Ursa. Remember, they don't want to really find mind control. He's got the Aegis to the Immortal, so him dying could be for the greater good. As long as they can find an opening, but Iceberg he's already tailed it away.
Look at the warding on the map from Liquid.
Yeah, they've
So much vision. They have 6 wards out right now.
They've been holding this for so long.
It's a nice pattern.
Okay, you just hang on away. I can draw the line naturally. Here, here. We come down.
Connect the dots.
Boom,
Okay.
boom. There
Let's
we
play
go.
Connect the dots. That's...
I'm playing Connect the Dots.
This
but
is...
then you got a random dot, but it's the one that's going to time out.
It's a beak.
It's a beak. Okay. Welcome to the bird strat. Night Stalker going to get killed off. Miracle there.
Speaking of birds, he gets his wings clipped, and now it's daytime. So, questionable at the best. Liquid are starting to look pretty much in control of this game right now.
Yep. The Graves definitely tell the same story. You've still got a lot of strength in the Winstrike lineup. That's their advantage. The fact that the Clinks is #1 in the net worth. He's just completing up now.
MKB.
Yep.
He needs it against the blinding light. We saw before, as I mentioned at the time, I thought he was going to kill GH faster, but he had a lot of net worth on him that wasn't used, and that went into a demon edge. And now that the damage is there, he will kill him fast. But there's a Ghost Scepter to worry about if he wants to target the Caudal. So probably better off going for other heroes and just, you know.
Should you actually just go
ignoring
Glass Cannon as well, so they get that? Because I remember you talked about Clinks in previous series, and you're always like, the Clinks just should find a kill, and that wins the fight at the very, very beginning. Like, do you go Glass Cannon in order to achieve that against such a tanky lineup like what Liquid has?
Who do you find is the question.
Yeah.
You can't really kill Wraith King right away. He has Reincarnation, Ursa has Enrage, and Dragon Knight is just innately pretty tanky. I think it's better to itemize to stay in the fight. So the BKB that we see Sound hovering right now, I think is a solid choice.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Although I could also see him going for some sort of a hybrid item. He could turn his... Well, do they have the medallion on Nature's Prophet? He's going Crest, because else that could have been a nice item on Clinks here, right? Like,
Yeah.
having the defensive and the aggressive component. But that will be coming out from his buddy. Aegis down.
Kuro's drawing the lines right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's the, they are fighting here, we need to push here, and we control that.
Radiant's bottom tower
Caudal will
is
take
under
care of top.
attack.
See a creep wave.
Dire's top tower is under
Until
attack.
Nature's Prophet wants a TP in behind him. But no, he'll go down towards bottom lane. Sprouts up over on Miracle. Support TP's in the form of Nograna. Iceberg came in through the Shrine. So they focus on the DK. Spirit Vessel is up. So DK just doesn't have that sustain, that innately tanky sustain you were looking for. And they turn their attention towards Matumberman. Swap him out of the trees, out of all kind of movement. And 2 heroes from Liquid picked off, feeling like they had the space.
That was a nice and quick move. So what Winstrike did there was they pressured top, and they saw Caudal come up there to start illuminating. They instantly rotate multiple heroes bottom and just get the jump. And they feel they cannot lose this fight at nighttime with the Night Stalker. And they're right. 2 great core kills, and they lost nothing for
And
it.
they're coming for more. Observer and Sentry is down. Nongrata gets revealed and probably is going to ping out the fact that he was seen. But they were coming for the kill because Keeper of the Light went for the rune. Went for the bounty rune underneath the obs. There's a lot of money on Iceberg and nothing in his quick buy.
Yeah, I think it's going BKB. There are other choices, obviously. Could go Dagger Pike, but I feel like if he wants the Dagger, he would have bought it already.
Tower is under attack.
Top lane, they recalled him.
Yep, pulled him in, trying to push him up. That's the force
Oh.
up. A blinding light just pulls back, no fear.
Dire
Well, let the laugh.
I
We'll let
like
the
it.
laugh narrate that post-fight.
Ha, ha,
Post-kill.
ha, ha.
Great laugh Ursa has.
Miracles actually got initiation out of him now. Shadowblade completed. He's already purchased the Mithril Hammer on his way towards a BKB. But sitting back in his stash at the moment.
Yep. With this BKB on Iceberg, I think you just either... Winstrike have 2 options. They either try to take the fight right now with this peak, or they delay and wait for Clinks to get his 2, and then they look for a really big fight. But knowing Winstrike, I think they want to go for it.
They're going after Matumberman. Searing arrows. The timing is a little bit off from Iceberg. Support will be able to arrive from GH. Blinding Light? No. His ulti's on cooldown for the moment, and that's why Nongrata is thinking of diving in deeper. The timing was great. It
8
was
seconds.
Yeah, it was just before the reincarnation would come off cooldown.
And if it had, then I think that would have been a pretty bad fight for Winstrike. The way they opened up, they used Astral Imprisonment during Strafe. That's generally a really bad sign, basically anti-synergy there. They got the job done still, because they only needed to kill him once. They've got a pretty good grip on the map right now. You look across this, like, all of this right side of the map is owned by Winstrike. They're dealing with the split push of Caudal with their Nature's Prophet, and the mid lane is also across the river now, so they are able to find more opportunities for themselves.
Especially
look
when
for.
all the vision of Liquid, yeah, becomes pretty pointless. Apart from that one defensive Observer Sentry combo. Right, Roshan, we've got a minute and 45 seconds before he is up. Silent will be sad. He just found a double damage rune, and Iceberg. It's made in China.
These dragons have a very rare spell they use sometime. There's a 5% chance that they all cast level 3 Laguna Blade at the same time. Had a feeling that was going to come there. Better safe than sorry, right?
Yeah. Totally legit reason. Oh, maybe he just wants to have to fight the lower cooldown time. Alright. They're pretty happy with their positioning anyway, so even though the BKB has been burnt, Team Liquid were not aware of this. It was out of range of all of their obs. Mind Control farming up top. He's got BKB plus Enrage, a very difficult target to go on. This one's a little easier. Always want to fly, Team Liquid. Blinding. Whoops, that went the wrong way.
Depends how you look at it.
I think GH was definitely trying to pull Always Want to Fly into a death.
And run.
But they have to come back again. They really need this Keeper of the Line to be able to drag people around, but you see the item build from GH. There's no Aghanim Scepter. His Force is Ghost, and now he's looking at a Halberd.
The upside to Aghanims is that people obviously concentrate or focus a lot on the Illuminate heal at daytime, but it's really convenient to have constant ulti as well. You should not underestimate the value of having zero downtime.
Yeah.
Right now the downtime is the downtime is 30 seconds. Lasts for 70, or sorry, cooldown 70, duration 40. And in those 30 seconds he's really weak. Like, it changes the hero completely to have that spirit form. So I still wouldn't mind seeing him going Ags, but obviously the heal aspect of it will be relatively difficult to use, but as we talked about, Liquid could still use the timing even against Night Stalker.
I love how long the Illuminate time, like vision time, remains. GH threw that blast out and they still saw over towards Roshan. They'll smoke into the pit now. This was away from every bit of Radiant vision, so this is a second Roshan that's going to go the way of Team Liquid.
And they timed it right after darkness.
Yeah.
This is 100% planned. This is what I mean. This will happen again this game, that Night Stalker will use darkness, Liquid will wait it out, and then they will hit this timing when they feel like they can do whatever they want because darkness is on cooldown. That's why I still see the Axe being a good purchase.
Matumba goes for the stun, finds Non-Grata in that mid lane, and GH is coming as quick as he possibly can. He's able to get the mana leak off, but Non-Grata's got a mana pull enough to get him back to the tier 3 tower. And Prophet, you see no fear. You know how he wants to play this. You can take the tier 2 tower, but what's going to be the cost? If Klinks comes with him, Silent's going to rip apart that tier 3 tower on bottom lane.
Should bring back Miracle with his Shadow Blade. They are not going to expect this one. No Fear's relatively tanky with his...
Yeah, first stun, still got Breathe Fire and No Fear. Push down, and...
Oh, he missed!
Wait, he actually mischanced it?
He missed.
Oh, boy.
Miracle gets that kill if he swapped his Quelling Blade instead of Stick when he went for the kill, but probably wasn't thinking about this possibility to even arise.
Recall's being used. Silent's still on bottom lane, and now Prophet, he's going to come straight back again. Actually, he's TPing up towards the top. This is just like non-stop pressure on all fronts.
And they've bought Silent a good amount of time. He has the BKB completed.
He could hit the tier 3
Working
tower.
on Hex, yep.
Like, because DK already came back, you know he's not going to have a TP scroll, so Ursa and Wraith are the only ones that can come back and deal with Silent.
He used a strafe to hit the creep wave, though. A bit surprised he didn't lay into that tower a bit.
Why wouldn't you go for the guaranteed damage on a target that can't regenerate?
It would have been pretty valuable. He would have got like a few hundred damage in that at least. But either way, still a very close game. And it's the kind of game where just looking at gold as an indication of who's leading is a little bit tricky because the lineups are so fundamentally different in how they use gold. Liquid wants to group up in 5-man when they can, but in skirmishes, if Winstrike get the right skirmishes where they split Liquid's team up, they can be even 10k gold behind and win fights simply by being more mobile with Klinks, Night Stalker, as well as the Nature's Prophet TP. That's where Caudle is the absolute key piece here for Team Liquid to have in the right position, make sure they can match the numbers.
It's smoke gang time. Everyone's together. Prophet's going to TP in, force to the top, but dire scan from Liquid right on the money. Pings positive multiple times as Winstrike go through it. And that's why Matumba and Mind Control are sitting where they're sitting underneath the sentry wall. They try and kill off Silent. Won't happen. They're stunned with the Wrath of Nature. Matumba takes a lot of damage as Vengeful Spirit. She was the one trying to provide that control, but dies quickly. They want more. Blink off cooldown in 2 seconds time for Matumba. I'll even give him the chakra, but everyone is gone. Winstrike, they just go into the trees, ready for their TPs out. And Prophet's on bottom lane. Welcome to the split push. Once again, continuing.
Even though they died on Venge, they do get the tower. It does get denied by Kuro, but it's another opening into the map for Nature's Prophet to work with. Mid lane.
Iceberg's loving this. I don't think he's loving the unit he just imprisoned, but then support in from behind.
Oh,
Silent
Bash.
with the double damage room, but the Bash is there in control. Silent, they forced off him up, but Miracle will still find the hit in. Kuro chasing down after Non-Grata. Mind Control thought he went into the tree lines. Won't happen. Penitence as Non-Grata goes through the small alley. But Matumba and Miracle, they're focusing on a bigger target. They want to go down through the middle. Remember, Miracle still got the Aegis, the Immortal. They're looking to fight, and that's 30 seconds without the two big callers from Winstrike alive. Prophet's trying to cut the creep wave. He needs to slow this down.
He managed.
In fact, yeah, Night Stalker already did it. He'll grab the second creep wave, and there goes the push.
Man, if Iceberg, if he doesn't get bashed right there and then, he blows up minimum one hero with the Sanity's Eclipse and might even stay alive. It's so important for Liquid to connect that bash from Ursa in that moment out of the Dragon Knight stun. And that was it was a really quick play. Liquid were very fast at going for that tiny moment of opportunity. And the Marginals just favoring them there. Silent was one hit away from killing the Dragon Knight and probably staying alive. But Kuro with the heal, everything nicely timed there.
Yeah, you can't really blame Winstrike for it. The only thing that felt odd was the fact they had to run up the river. Silent. Oh, that's an Observe Ward being planted. Now the sentry comes down. So they'll see Silent for just a quick moment. Keeper of the Light wants to bring friends in. But all his friends are already there.
A gift from the goddess.
So got another 3 minutes-ish until Roshan's going to spawn up. Which means now Miracle. Sorry to say, man. Time's out.
Ooh, Dagger Coddle. I like this.
Dagger?
Yeah, it's a really good item on that hero.
You're looking for him just to play around in the tree lines?
It gives Coddle some interesting options because
Radiant's bottom
usually the limiting factor for the hero in fights is to get out of position when you go for the aggressive plays, such as casting Mountain League or casting the Blinding Light. When you have a dagger, you can walk in and do it and blink out, or you can blink in, cast Blinding Light, and force staff away. So you can kind of hit. All of Coddle's spells are really good, right? It's just about landing them in fights that can be tricky. And this way, he has a solution for Night Stalker running at him too. He sees him coming, he can blink away in time and reset his position. It's a great item. GH has got this multiple times before, generally after Axe, but in this case, he seems to completely be bypassing it still, not interested in getting it. He's actually out-leveling the Wraith King. Interesting.
Well, he's spending more time just on the defense against like big waves. At Winstrike, for now they still have most of the creep waves pushing over. The bottom is a problem for them, and Mind Control and Kuro are kind of banking on Winstrike coming closer to do something about it. They get the scan, they know that someone's holding him behind. Originally it was Prophet, now it's No-Grata. But I highly doubt Winstrike are actually even feeling the pressure.
Did Iceberg just BKB again?
No. He moved the slot. He moved it. It was sitting in a different slot. He moved it and then tapped it. He's down to 7 seconds on that BKB. 2 of the times it was never used.
Radiant are
Curse
scanning.
these fat fingers.
He's a big boy, but I wouldn't say fat. This is...
He's lost 2 BKB charges. He's down to 7 seconds now. This is really unfortunate, actually. And one thing is what happened to his item. The other part is the mental game. Like, you get frustrated, man. That sucks.
They'll have to try and fight now. Iceberg still doesn't have the BKB up for 20 seconds, so they cannot fight. Miracle gets revealed up on top, but remember, you've got Keeper of the Light, who can just drag him back in again. But that's what No Fear is waiting for. You know, sitting in behind the tower, left an Observe Ward behind. Kuro has no reveal on him, so Silent should be feeling okay where he is. But I'm waiting for these courier snipes to also come. The Observe Ward will see this.
Silent might find a Kuro snack here. Yummy.
Oh,
Just kidding.
Ghost Scepter. No Fear's nearby. They sprout, so they have the extra vision. Kuro's trying to be pulled back, but the damage comes in. So the recall from GH will never finish. And Kuro will lose part of his army. Not the whole thing, though.
That saves some of it. Saves the Troll and the Centaur. But still, Kuro is probably willing to take this death. You look at the map and what Liquid have managed to accomplish. They have good map control in the Dire, or in the Radiant Jungle. They have good wards out. They have good push on top. They pushed across the river in mid.
Oh, they won't want to accept this one. But Tubberman goes down. That's the level 2 reincarnation, so it's still a 2-minute cooldown timer. But shows the power of the Clinks.
And he hits pretty hard.
Yeah, it's going to be even better once he has the Scythe of Ice. Then that disable's going to last.
And Wraith King just can't really deal with this Clinks because you just strafe and hit him, and he can't stun you. You're going to dodge that Wraithfire Blast, so...
Looking for a target. Smoke, get a break,
on
Mind
MC.
Control, walking directly over, but Mind Control so quick on the blink, he actually jumps up. They're going to use the Chen creeps to allow him to find Vengeful Spirit, throws himself in the line of fire, and everyone else has arrived on top of the shrine. The TP's in from Team Liquid. They're focusing down onto Iceberg. Hey, at least his BKB is up and running. Night Stalker pushed back up in with the mana leak. Cannot outrun this. Over the hill, doesn't get far away. Mind Control's blink is already back off cooldown. Winstrike are probably counting their lucky stars. It was only their Night Stalker and their VS to die.
They got themselves into a really awkward spot there, and this Iceberg BKB is it's like a side plot in this game. Like the big overarching thing that's happening in the game, and then there's Iceberg's inner struggle against BKB. He does get it off this time, but he didn't get it off before the first stun. So, like this fight ends up being really awkward. Like you said, they also both banished and swapped the opening jump, so
Yep.
they overlap their spells, and it makes it a lot harder. Just got to be that little bit extra crisp. And now comes the high ground push. Liquid have their timing. They know Darkness was used, so 50 seconds with a really weak Night Stalker.
Fortification will probably slow them down. Blinding Line, Mind Control wasn't really ready for that. In fact, he wanted to try and fight. Has to munch on his cheese, always want to fly, swaps him in. Mind Control just burns the BKB and then kills off always want to fly. Down without buyback available. Miracle will slow him up. The banishment is there. Remember, the side lanes are still pushing in. That's the way Winstrike anticipated this, so Liquid will feel that pressure and will have to go back. Once again, going high ground feels like it will come at such a high cost.
They got some damage in, got a Venge kill, but yeah, that wasn't really the biggest gain ever for Liquid.
I love the attack from Miracle.
This is a big gain, though.
I don't know if they can actually take Roshan.
There's a shard on this, too.
Radiant is scanning, and I think it actually pinged out. Okay, well, Winstrike, yeah, 33-12, Roshan. Yeah, he should be up by now, boys, but let me tell you, he's gone.
You're right, but what are you going to do about it? Oh, that's funny. Extra ulti for Wraith King seems to be the choice for Liquid right now.
Oh,
They've
no
put the
fear.
shard on Wraith King.
Does he really want to complete that TP? He has to force stuff, hides himself inside the Sprout. Miracle has no way to cut through it. Miracle, however, does have great damage when he's in Frost Dragon, having that Daedalus now up. Silent really thinking about this? Nope. He really isn't thinking about anything.
You give him too little credit. There's zero brain activity.
Always want to fly us on the run.
Oh, this could be interesting, though. If they see the recall and they stop him at... Oh, this is trouble. He has to BKB.
Dire are
Sprout.
Yeah, Miracle trying to get out of here. In fact, he's just battling up against Nongrad, who can tank through a lot of this, and they brought the dust available. GH, how quick did he come? Bringing in the friends. You had the Lotus Orb protecting, but not enough. And the Clinks, Mind Control. Comes in with the Abyssal Blade, catching Silent by surprise.
So what I thought was the plan there from Winstrike that I would have really liked was I thought they were going to start a fight on the opposite side of the map, and Liquid will rely on recalling their Dragon Knight in. So if they could have started that fight, and Clinks just hits the Dragon Knight once, and then TP's away.
Oh, Iceberg going in with always want to fly, but the bash is from Mind Control. The swap up, and then he has to defensively imprison. Prophet wants to come and join this fight. I don't think he actually really wants to. That Chen army is already there to give the control. Kura will lose his life for it. VS has to buy it back, and no fear. Force staff into the TP out. GH can't force staff the right direction. And Mind Control's blink was on cooldown. Time is being wasted. Up on top lane, not by Miracle. Attacking to the tier 3 tower. The damage output is ridiculously good, around 300, not including crit. And then now beats in towards the buildings. Always Want to Fly has no swap available. And Clinks doesn't really feel like he's got the distance yet. Oh, wow, he actually found another one. He found No Fear. Sure, bottom lane, why not? But the top lane's where it's all about. Miracle is just ripping through Winstrike. They just don't have the power to withstand this. As in they go, Mind Control pushing Silent back out again. That's the game. GG, well played. Team Liquid will follow in the footsteps of EG and 2-0 Winstrike.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
That was a much better game. And it definitely felt like a game that Winstrike were in range of,
Yeah.
which is refreshing to see because they've had a couple of pretty crushing losses. But this one, they played more aggressive. They drafted better lanes.
Yeah.
It's just they got outclassed when it came to the macro movements on the map. Like, they did a good job at split pushing with the Nature's Prophet, but it seemed like when the mid game came around and they started taking team fights, Liquid were ready for them. They were in position. We had that great fight with the 5-man Illuminate, 5-man Breathe Fire.
Yep.
I believe Liquid got 3 Roshans that game. You know, those are the things that end up winning the game. And Liquid just set them up better with a better understanding of how to play around each other, where to play on the map, where to distance yourselves, get the right wards out, and arguably, they maybe also picked better heroes. OD is not that great.
Yeah.
It's also, you know what? It sucks, man. He used his BKB twice on nothing.
Yeah.
And that's already bad as it is, but then when it comes to the actual fights that he gets to join, they're not properly set
And then
up.
he uses the BKB after he gets stunned up.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like it felt sometimes like, hey, Night Stalker has got the right position. Like, he's going to jump in there. They've got the information. No Fear was a really great presence. I feel like in both the games, obviously they had a lot more success in the early game of this game too. But like around Roshan, the fact that Team Liquid were able to win that first fight and then slip into Roshan straight away. Like, it was at that point, it's like, oh, we have momentum. We have a second life. We have the Aegis and the cheese. Even if the Aegis gets burnt, it doesn't matter because Winstrike doesn't have that momentum themselves. But it was better.
It was better.
It was better. Bit by bit, Winstrike get better. And, well, they'll have another opportunity. We get to have another opportunity. We cast one more series today. And I believe we have VP versus Pain coming up next. So we'll grab a beverage.
It's going to be a lot of kills.
Yeah.
A lot of kills.
Fantasy points.
Kills.
See you soon.